If you're not running your own node, you're using somebody else's.
TC, if I'm coming to you, I'm not very technical. I'm just getting going. What are you recommending for the first node setup?
That's a great question. Today, more so than even just a year or two ago, there's so many options. And I probably would recommend somebody look at something like MyNode or Umbrel or even Start9. These kinds of um, sort of user interfaces and operating systems on top of a node are definitely helpful for new people, for less technical people to feel a little bit more comfortable. I've been running an Umbrel node for almost 3 years now. I have no complaints except for I've had to, tinker with my Raspberry Pi a couple times when I had power outages and, little things like that. But in general, over the last few years, that node has essentially functioned. I would say it's just like having a Wi-Fi router in your house. Most people completely take that for granted. It's a piece of technology. They don't have a clue how it works. All they know is it sits there and it emits Wi-Fi and allows them to use the internet. And in exactly the same way, a node, when you get it running, is basically your personal infrastructure to connect to the Bitcoin network. It's also your personal copy of the blockchain. It is your own, verification of all the information that you need in order to check balances, track incoming transactions, track the status of a broadcast transaction, broadcast a transaction, all of these key activities. And, I'll tell you, the thing that really pushed me over the edge to start running a node was when I realized checking your balance requires a node. Like,
Dude,
it's something that new people, it's something that new people don't think about. And like, how many times a day do you check your balance? And especially if you're stacking in cold storage, you might just want to check that thing each day or something. Well, if you're not using your own node.
Can we add one important piece of context about that?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. So what a lot of people don't know is that to check your balance, the node that you're checking needs a thing called your XPub. And your XPub, if somebody has that, they can see not only all transactions you have ever done, but all transactions you could ever do in the future because it has a list of all of your addresses.
Yep. So you read my mind. I was just about to get to that part.
Okay.
Because
cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like spot on. The first part of it is just getting the information about what your balance is requires basically checking every address that your private key controls, which is done through your public key, which we call an XPub. And so basically you're doxing yourself. You're doxing your history and all your future activity with that wallet. Just something as innocent as checking your balance. If you're not running your own node, you're using somebody else's. So yes, absolutely critical aspect of it. I think for beginners, a lot of this stuff starts to get really sort of complex, but it's essential to just attack that learning curve. Like, it doesn't matter what stage you're at. If you're on day one of your Bitcoin journey, start understanding these things. And you do that by not shying away from the fact that there's several things to learn. You attack it head on because this is meaningful to you. Like, remind yourself why you're doing this and all of these reasons that we've discussed just in the last few minutes about, sovereignty and, saving in a currency that's not being debased, and permissionlessness, and all these things are, these are your incentives that should stay front of mind. They will motivate you to make your way through these learning curves, make your way through the setup, acquire the equipment, and figure this stuff out. What's awesome is once you get it working and once you break down that learning curve, it's done. So it's like, I don't even think about my node anymore. It just runs in the background. It's a service installed in my house, just like my Wi-Fi router for internet. I've got my node for everything to do with Bitcoin. And whenever I want to look at a balance, whenever I want to do any kind of stacking and, get another unused address, all of these things, it's like I'm connected to my node. I feel like I'm in my own little safe area where I've got my copy of the blockchain. It's being constantly updated. My node gets every new block. And so I can basically do anything I want to do, including like, you want to just explore around. You want to look up other people's wallets and data. And it's just the full blockchain. And I have my own copy. And that just gives me such peace of mind. And that's the foundation for self custody. I think without that, you're missing a big piece.